Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. I'll skip the ads for right now because we are working on the tutorial stuff again. I think the tutorial is good. Well, it's not good. I mean, it's getting there, but on this stream, I'm just going to be changing a bunch of stuff. I've got a whole checklist of things that I want to do. Finalize resurrection state, boss state, inventory tooltip. I got to reposition everything. That is correct. That's done. Allow clicking to advance text and show. So let me show you what I have so far. So I've been working on it this afternoon. Made some progress on it. So he's got animations now. He's also highlighting things differently. The spotlight is a little bit more visible now, which I don't know if I'm going to keep that, but we will see. And then he also has some orbit behavior that is basically just designed to avoid the critical areas. So he's generally going to avoid going over the text and also over the things that he's spotlighting. He fades in and out now, all that good stuff. And so, yeah, I think it's, like I said, it's getting there. It's just there's a bunch of little things that need to be done. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. So we'll just make one improvement at a time here. We got to update the text position for a lot of these things, but that should be all right. And then what else? Go here. Yeah, so I think it's looking all right. And then it shows the combat board, shows the button there. Anyway, so yeah, looking a little bit better. Probably need to do, I don't know, I need to do particles for the lantern and all that stuff. So yeah, we'll figure it out. I think we'll figure it out. Will we figure it out? Yeah, we'll figure it out. I think we'll figure it out. I don't know. We'll see. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to... Yeah, I gotta fix the lantern thingy-mabobber again. Anyway, the next thing I want to do is I want to make it so that if you click or press the controller A button, that it will advance the text so that you don't have to sit there and wait for the text. You could just skip through the tutorial if you want to. So that's the next thing to do. I think that should be pretty straightforward, but I've been wrong before. So yeah, we will handle that. Let me just think about what I want to do first before I read the chat here. Probably just want to do... color rect lay in. So I might want to do some improvements here actually. But before we get into that, let's just say hello to everyone. Hello Clickertail, welcome back. Emerson, hello, hello. GD Crazy, welcome. Hello Wooius, welcome back. About dialogue system, I found this plugin called Dialogic, which does all the work, so pretty cool. Yeah, I've heard of that plugin. Seems like a lot of people use it. Hello Budget Jim, welcome. Cat, you've absolutely blown my feedback out of the water. I think this looks so good now and fits the theme so much better. Well, thank you, Jack. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think it does work better too. I think it's more approachable, it's more readable, it's more engaging visually, and it also explains more too. Because I'm dimming everything out, I can be a little bit wordier if I need to be. And yeah, I don't have a bunch of like weird conditionality anymore. And it also helps that you can't... One of the challenges of the way the previous tutorial is working is that you could click anything at any time. And so I had to handle all these cases of like, what if I'm telling the player to go and do this thing, but they go and do that thing? So now I've got to like exit that state and like all that stuff. But now what I'm basically doing is it's just basically a full screen thing that highlights the thing that we're talking about, and it says, here's the blurb about this thing. And then when you click continue, it just leaves you to your own devices. It it doesn't demand that you have to do anything to advance the tutorial. It will just show you the tutorial message, say, here's what's up, and then you can go from there. So that's a simplification as well. So, but anyway, we want to probably do set process to false on this. And then when we play in, we do set process to true. When we do play out, we want to do set process to false. Actually, I should probably do set process to true here. Tween action, set process true there. Okay. So we do want to override. So let's do set process input is false. And then in here, oh, this is not where the text tween is. That's okay. We can still do this in here. I think this is the best place to do it. So let's do public override void input. And now that I'm thinking about it, it should work. Well, we'll see. Okay, set process, we want to do set process input in here as well. And then set process to true. And then out here, set process input to false. So we want to make sure that we're turning that off at the appropriate time. So in input here, what we're going to do is we'll take this input event, EVT. We'll say if EVT dot is action pressed, game constants dot action click left. We are going to get viewport dot accept event. Set input as handled. And then we're also going to emit a signal here. Signal public delegate void skip requested event handler. So we're just going to go ahead and emit that skip requested. Let's see, skip requested. Emit signal skip requested. All right. So then in the skull here, what we're going to do is we're going to take that tutorial highlight.skip requested plus equals on skip requested. All right, so play out, play in. So we only want to animate text in. Let's see. We'll just store a Boolean here. Private bool is animating text in. Okay, and then in here, where do I want to put this? Animate text in. Let's just do is animating text in equals true. And then when this tween gets killed, let's do a couple of things. Animate text in. Let's put an action in here. We'll say is animating text in equals false. And then we're also just going to force the rich text label dot visible character ratio is equal to 1. So whenever this tween finishes, whether it gets killed or whether it finishes naturally, we're just going to force that to 1. Okay, so that should be fine. Animate text in, cool. All right. So when we get that on skip requested signal, it should be relatively straightforward. We just do on skip requested. We will say if is animating text in. I do need to make the continue button visible. So let's put that also in the cleanup function and get rid of it here. So I've explained this cleanup tween before, but basically what this cleanup tween does is it allows me to define the code that will run whenever this tween finishes or is killed. So if the tween finishes naturally, then it will do all of these things. But if I kill the tween, like if I interrupt it or start a new tween, these things will also fire, right? So I'm guaranteed that whatever happens to this tween, this will always be called and updated. So that's a very good pattern for me, especially, I think it's a good idea, especially if you have like state that's being represented by your tweens and you want to make them interruptible. It's just a nicer way of handling that, I think. So if not is animating text in, we'll just return. Otherwise, what we want to do is we want to just take that text tween and we just want to kill it. So what we should have is a situation where the only time we can kill this tween is if the is animating text in is true, which can only be set by this tween. And anytime this tween finishes, it will be set back to false. So we know that when this flag is true, it's this tween here that's running. So let's see if that works. So if I'm impatient, if I don't want to wait for the text to appear on the screen, I could just skip over it, hopefully. Perfect. So I just clicked right there and it just immediately popped up. And now I can't click the continue button. And the reason I can't click the continue button is for what reason? This continue button. So that input handling must be swallowing that for some reason. But I don't know why that is, because the skull is later in the tree, so it should be receiving the input event first. Why on earth is that happening? I don't think I can use unhandled input. I forgot. Does GUI input happen after input? Let's do input handling Godot. Input handling. There's like a little handy. Oh, here we go. Oh, input event fires before GUI input event. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay. I don't think unhandled input is going to work here because this control is going to swallow the mouse events. Yeah. So what am I going to do about this? I guess I'll just have to listen for events on the control as well. I don't think there's a way around that. The main thing that I'm like concerned about is making sure the controller works. I don't want to give myself more controller work to do. So as I'm adding new input stuff, I want to make sure that this works. What does the public and private mean in C#? Those are accessibility modifiers. Oh, I don't have any free ports. Okay. Those are accessibility modifiers. They just change basically what can access what. So like public means that anything can reference that method or property on the class, and private means that only the class itself can access those methods and properties. And there's another one, protected, which we don't have to get into. There might be more, but those are the 3 main ones. I've clicked the wrong stream. I was told this was Trig 101. Welcome back, Stray Pointer. Okay, well, this unhandled input, this might work for controller, so let's just keep that there, but we also need to do public override void GUI input. Oh, this is not going to work either. Maybe it will. Let's see. Let's just copy this. This would be, instead of this, we need to do accept event because it's different for some reason. Okay. Well, let's just see what happens, I suppose. Okay, controller works. Perfect. I can't select this button though, but that's all right. And the mouse works. The only problem though is that it's continuing to swallow my inputs. So, actually, is it? Maybe not, actually. Oh yeah, I can't, oh wait. I can't scroll the map. So, we'll just do this. If is processing input, let's see if that works. This is a mess, but the main thing is the tutorial can't break the rest of the functionality, obviously. Okay, so that's fine, that's fine. Still can't. Unhandled input, action click left. Oh, I need to do set process unhandled input, right. This is nutty, fam. This is nutty, fam. Okay, so controller A button works. I don't know why that is not going away, but I can scroll this now. Okay, everything seems to be fine. Now, is there a reason why I'm not setting this? I am setting this mouse filter, but the GUI input still goes through it. So I guess this is the best that I could do. I don't know. In any case, that continue button is not disappearing on continue pressed. Or wait. No, it is, right? Did I break something? Skeleton is dope. Thank you, Opacheco Dev. Hello, Mel's. Welcome. Oh, the continue button is appearing before it should. That's the problem. Continue button dot visible equals false. Just slap that in there. There's so much state flying around. But the tutorial is pretty isolated in terms of like the tutorial components, so I don't need to spend a whole lot of time worrying about that. Now, the one thing that I need to do, let me think about this. Why does it do that? Stop opening VS Code. Oh wait, I wonder. I don't know why it does that. I think it's a bug. Where is, so this is my focus context boundary component. Focus context boundary component. Standard. Oh, right. The problem is this focus. Oh, why are you doing that? This focus context boundary component. This needs to be hoisted a little bit. This needs to be at this level here. Because the button lives under the skull. Which I guess you could make a good argument that this probably shouldn't be here anymore. The button, I guess, probably a lot of my problems would be solved if I moved the button out of the skull. Because there's no reason for the skull to be here anymore. Do I do that? Is that worth the effort? Is the juice worth the squeeze, so to speak? Let's move. I'll keep my controller plugged in so I can test, but let's move. Yeah, let's move this out. We're going to put it into tutorial highlight instead. Set text. Okay. And we need the rich text root. So I'm going to just copy or cut this. I don't know why Godot is doing this. We're going to close everything. That is so freaking annoying. Okay. Let's grab the rich text root out of there. We're going to put it in tutorial highlight. So there's our rich text root. Okay. This may be better. We're going to get rid of this continue requested. We're going to put it in here. Okay. We want the rich text root and the rich text label in here. Okay. Play out. So I'm going to need to call play out. Let's grab the text container out of here as well. We'll just scroll down and bring these things out. Text container, global position. Okay, so we need to get public vector2 text container global position. Just replace one thing at a time here. The only thing that's kind of annoying actually, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. So we're going to need a play out method in the tutorial highlight. We have a play. Oh, we already have a play in and a play out. Okay, so maybe I just Copy this bad boy. Put that here. We want to tween the rich text label. Let's get rid of this. Okay. So we already got rid of that. Get avoidance velocity, text container, get global rect. Maybe I should just make this. Public bool is text visible, text container dot visible, public rect 2, text container global rect. Okay, we'll just change this. So if tutorial highlight dot is text visible, tutorial highlight dot text container global rect. Okay. Animate text in. This needs to go away. We will put this in here. All right. So we need the continue button from up here. We need a cleanup tween for the text tween. Play in. This is the part that's going to be a little bit annoying. But I may just cheat a little bit. I may just call it from the skull, which is not really that great, but that's probably all right. Okay, and then we take this is animating text in and we put it over here. On continue pressed, we're going to put that in tutorial highlight. Okay. On skip requested, we can move that over as well. So I actually don't need this anymore. We'll call that handle skip instead. Move this up. All right, what else do we have going on here? If text container, so this would be tutorial highlight that is text visible. Global rect. We don't have this skip requested anymore. Okay, and then in here, we don't need to have that signal anymore. All right. So we've got a lot of issues in here, but the main thing is we want to do tutorial highlight.continue requested. And then everywhere we have set text, this would become tutorial highlight.setText. All right, did we do it? How did you balance between giving an enlightening tutorial and allowing the player to learn things on their own? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out still, but I think the The main thing is like you want to give the player enough information so that they're not lost. But I don't think that you need to describe everything in excruciating detail. Like the player needs to know how to play the game, but what they don't need to know is the optimal way to play the game, right? I think that's kind of the way that I'm thinking about it. So they need to know how to engage with the mechanics at a baseline, and then all of the ways in which those mechanics work together will be up for the player to discover, right? Because I think part of the fun of this game is like working out how the alchemy works and how you can use the alchemy to your benefit. And so I think that that's a good thing to keep for the player to explore. Hoist is one of my favorite English words. Yeah, hoist is a great one. Yeah, I think that's a good. But then again, like Celeste is a relatively simple game. It's a little bit harder with games, I think, like Alchemy Mortis, where there's a lot going on, and you need to understand like how the abilities work and what status effects are, and how does like crit chance and crit mult work, and like what does it mean to have like a minion tag, and why does alchemy shuffle up the abilities? You know, it's a little bit more tricky, I think. Hello, Arson Watanabe. Welcome. Good to see you. Does the tutorial cover the QTE when you rescue the cutie? Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. All right, let's see what I broke. Is it going to work first try? I don't think it worked first try. I think I saw a little bit of flickering there. Yeah, there's like a flicker, so maybe I set the visible characters to 0 there, and then I turn text container visible there. Let's see if that works. But it seems to have worked. I think I have successfully refactored everything. And the good thing about that is that I should be able to focus on the button now. I can't. And it's still flickering. Man, that sucks. Why is that happening? Oh, I'm setting the... No, wait. Let's turn the visible ratio to 0. Maybe these things aren't related to each other. Maybe I have to set both of those. I don't know. Hello, Ninja Link. Oh, the snail cat didn't come through. What's going on with that? Why is that flickering? Ah, that's annoying. That's annoying. Dark Souls kind of just gives you a crappy manual with missing pages and tosses you into the wild. Gotta make sure YouTube doesn't ding me. Yeah. I definitely think like tutorials can probably be on the lighter side. Especially like, you know, for the audience for this kind of game, something's broken. Why is this happening? For the audience for this kind of game, like this is a game for people who want to sit down and figure out how things work. So especially in that case, I don't need to like be over-explanatory with how it works. Oh, I'm forgetting to play out. Right. Oh, maybe that's the problem. Reset skull state. So let's just do reset highlight state. And we need to do... Oh, I already have tutorial highlight play out there. Hello, Emerson. Welcome back. Or wait, you were already here, weren't you? Yeah, you were already here. Sorry. It's got an incredibly detailed and complex damage system that depends on tens of variables and explains nothing about it. Yeah, that's true. That is true. I wonder why this is breaking all of a sudden. Well, he's not doing a great job of not going over the text, but that's all right. Yeah, it's like it's flickering. Why is that flickering? So continue pressed or continue requested. Record state complete. Play draw targets in. Next valid state enter. So next valid state dot enter is doing skull.play in. That's calling animate text in. Wait, why does the skull still have the text tween? Oh, I guess it's just called text tween. Animate text in. I don't know why. Why is it flickering? I think maybe what's happening... Maybe what's happening is it's teleporting to the new position before it animates the text out, but that doesn't make any sense to me. So it's calling set text. Oh, wait. Animate text in is being called twice. So wait, I don't need to do this then. That may be part of the reason, or maybe the whole reason. Okay, we don't need to do any of that. If you're going to take inspiration from Dark Souls, we need more feet in the game. That's ridiculous. And it doesn't work. And it doesn't work. Animate text in. Is this never called? If text contain... Oh, if text container.visible. Oh, this is a mess. Let's just do this. Why do I have this happening? Maybe I should just get rid of this, actually. So anytime we call the skull play in, we will also call the text play in. Okay, now it's working. So I just had a couple of tweens fighting each other, I guess, is probably what was happening. But the main problem now is I still cannot, oh, I guess maybe my controller is not working. There we go. Okay, so we can probably make that a little bit nicer too. We can add a focus priority component. What does the focus priority component do? Can I do... Try grab focus. So let's do private focus priority component. Focus priority component. Continue button. I'm just gonna do this the easy way. On continue button, visibility changed. Let's try grab focus. So hopefully now when I have a controller in place, oh, this doesn't work like that. If continue button dot is dot visible. Okay, let's try that. Goodness gracious. We have a debugger error. Object reference not set to an instance of object. Okay, try again. Okay, now it works. Alrighty, excellent. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. Move text into tutorial highlight. Okay. So that's done. So I need to adjust the different tooltip positions. Okay, I'm in the wrong place. Hello, Iron, welcome. Good to see you. There's controller support already, didn't know about that. Did I implement a virtual mouse on GUI navigation? I did not. It's all focus-based navigation, so you can just use the arrow pads or the left analog stick, use the D-pad, I should say, and it will just snap to, it makes a best guess as to what control you're trying to select, and then it snaps to that control. So now the system's only like 80% complete. There are still a bunch of like edge cases that I need to work on. And of course I need to work on the key binds or the mouse or the controller bindings for like various events, but this is just me moving with the controller. Like I can just select all of these, like how I want to select them. I forgot how to recenter the camera. Is that even possible? I guess I can click that, but I can open my inventory and then I can select my artifacts. I can select individual cards, move them around. Yeah, I got to figure out how I want the board switching to work. I probably just use the bumpers, right? Yeah, I had to do a bunch of weird key binding things when the alchemy was on the right. Oh, no, the problem is, yeah, so the problem here is that if this board is filled, I guess if it's filled, I can just skip over to the next valid board. So anyway, I gotta work on like how that all works, but right now I have to hold like the right bumper and then press the arrow to move things over. There's also no like quick move button or anything. For selling, yeah, I can just do that. Yeah. So it works for the most part. There's no way to open the combat log. The speed controls are weird. But I can use the controller to do everything normally. So yeah, the goal is like this should be... Yeah, like I can't move this one over. I think I have to hold right trigger, I guess. Oh, that didn't work at all. Why is that not fading out now? Okay, anyway. But yeah, it's all, the goal is to make this fully supported on Steam Deck at launch. So you can just play with a controller and do whatever you gotta do. Yeah, this controller UX is just really weird, that's all. Okay, anyway. So there's just like a bunch of little things that need to be addressed, but for the most part, like it works. Like I can go to the unlock screen too and kind of scroll through this. This screen is a little bit weird. I currently don't have any scroll support. Like I can't scroll this screen, but the unlock tree should work. That does work. Artifacts, I can select all those characters. For some reason, when I go up here and then I press right, I can't go over to the unlock tree. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm gonna have to figure that out. But yeah, that remaining little chunk of work to make that feel really good is gonna be annoying. But what are those questions from YouTube? Yeah, I'm streaming on YouTube at the same time. Welcome, Injust, by the way. Can I build a game with a bought asset pack, but it's like completed asset packs for the whole game and it fits my theme and genre? Yeah, sure you can. Yeah, I mean, I think the question, can you do it? Yes. I mean, I think it's largely up to how you execute too, right? But I don't see a problem with using an asset pack that you bought. The only problem with asset packs, especially 2D ones, is that they tend to have a very distinct style. And so you basically just have to stick with that asset pack or try to extend it, matching the style. And yeah, if you don't do those things, then you could end up with several asset packs that don't look good together, right? You can see all the items from that exist in the game from the start. No, not typically. You will have to unlock everything. So this will just be a bunch of black squares at first. And then as you encounter and unlock items, you will, this screen will fill up. But for debug purposes, I just have this screen unlocked. I need to update the unlock freaking thing too. Oh. Yeah. Anyway. Let's edit some of these tooltips here. Combat movement. Okay, let's just step through the tutorials and see which ones need to be adjusted. Feel that's a good approach? Yeah, it should be. Are you manually sequencing the questions? Pretty cool to see the current question. No, I use an app called Social Stream Ninja, and basically what it does is it just captures the chats from all the platforms that you're streaming on, and then it puts them into a single list, which you can use as a custom browser doc in OBS, and then I can just click on the question or the comment to bring it up. One thing at a time. Yes, one thing at a time. Nobody gonna judge me if I bought them and made the game based off them because I didn't make them, because the one I want really fits my style. I mean, look, I don't think, unless there's another popular game that was made with the asset pack that you want to use, I don't think most players on Steam are, if the asset pack is implemented well, I don't think most players on Steam are going to notice or really care that the art is from an asset pack. The problem is like when they can obviously tell that it's an asset pack, right? Like all the art looks really good, but then like the rest of the stuff that you're doing is not quite there, right? So like a common thing that I'll see is like people use these really nice asset packs and then the particles just look terrible, right? And it's like, oh, this is an asset pack game, right? Like there's a certain lack of cohesion that comes into play a lot of times when people use asset packs, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? It's like it's not necessarily the case that your visual design will have a lack of cohesion if you use an asset pack. It's just, I guess, a common pitfall that people run into, right? Yeah, I don't think there's a problem. Assets are very common. Oh, thank you, Real Cruda. Yeah, I don't think anyone would judge you. I mean, most 3D games, or maybe not most, maybe that's an overstatement, but a significant chunk of 3D games, especially indie 3D games, are using asset packs for something. I mean, I'm using assets for sound effects, right? Like, I'm using sound effects where I've heard the sound effect that I'm using in Alka Mortis in another game, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV, right? Like, what? But the thing is, most players aren't going to notice. I mean, like, even if you watch a lot of movies, if you pay attention, what you'll hear is, like, you'll hear the same sound effects used across multiple movies. I mean, I guess the famous one is the Wilhelm scream, but that's, like, I think that's mostly, like, a filmmaking meme. But there are, like, specifically, like, beast sounds. There's, like, always this, like, bear sound that always pops up whenever there's a bear on screen across whatever movie you're watching. It's like, there's going to be a bear. There's this one distinct, like, bear growl sound that is the exact same in all of these different movies. And it's because they're using sound effects libraries for their movies, right? So, but viewers don't care. What am I doing? Oh, I was going to check the text positions. Phasmophobia is using a ton of assets. Usually an environment is where they get away with asset packs. Yeah. Although I've seen like there's that that Cinti asset pack or something. Why is this one like way out there? Default left padding. Basically only filled in missing stuff and the things unique to the game. Okay, so the problem here is that I need to probably this text container offset transform. We'll shift left. Rich text label dot position or offset transform position ratio is equal to shift left question mark vector 2 dot left vector 2 dot 0. We could do shift left, true. Okay. I noticed at least two, I noticed Outlast 2 uses a sound asset that I heard from a game that came out before it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hello, V. Found a broken glass sound effect that I've heard before in a rhythm game called Archaea. Yeah. I think with 2D it's harder to get away with. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Why is this happening? Run map nodes. If I is equal to 0, origin. Why is that happening? If my game had a style that was readily available as asset packs, I'd use them, but I'm making very specific style in mind, so it's not happening. Yeah, I think 2D asset packs, the challenge really is, like I said, you can really only use that asset pack. You're not going to be able to find multiple disparate asset packs for 2D that all work well together, or at least that's going to be extremely hard to do. I definitely think that's true. So the question is, what the heck? Why is this happening? Oh. Text container. Right. Okay. I was setting the offset position ratio on the wrong thing. Can always do a vanilla ice and tweak a little bit and it's original. Can I just do... I don't know. I'm just guessing now. This is the annoying part, is like, because the map can change, so I need to figure out like a sensible way of placing the encounter things. Oh, am I still doing shift left on that? Oh boy. This is riveting gameplay. I think there's only a couple of instances where the text is not positioned well. And then we can work on the actual states, because I want to add some more states and also refine some states. Okay, that one looked all right. Okay, that looks correct. I wonder if all the text in here is correct now. This is your inventory. You can store items here for later use, okay? It's your combat board. That works. When your combat board is ready, click this button to start combat. Alrighty then. Thank you, Mr. Skeleton. Let's see what you have to say next, you chatty. Defeating Inquisition forces will reward you with new items and blood. Okay. Make your items more powerful by alchemizing them. Open your inventory to get started. Alchemy can be used to enhance items. Add items to the alchemy board, then click the pot to shuffle abilities between them. Okay. Ooh, legendary. Resulting items will have a mix of abilities based on the abilities of the items used in alchemy. Can have a chance of gaining corrupted abilities. So this is a little bit odd still, but we'll fix that. Okay. I think that's basically it. I mean, there's a couple of other states like the boss state and everything that I'm going to check. We want to check the resurrection as well. So yeah, we'll work on those. But anyway, work on tooltip or work on tutorial text. Positioning. Okay. So I'm going to take a quick, well, let's see. First of all, sick burn, yeah. Did I make the sprites too? Yes. All the art you see in the screen is made by me. By hand, including the tutorial guy here. You can see my layers. So yeah, all the art is mine. Did everything by hand. The only thing I didn't do with respect to the art is the font. The font is an asset, obviously. And the color palette I got off of low spec. So I didn't choose the color palette myself. I mean, I chose it, but I didn't like design the palette, you know what I mean? Will the game be in Italian? I'm not sure. I don't know exactly which languages it's going to be translated into on release. I'll have to talk with the publisher about that and see. But anyway, give me 3 minutes. I have to take the dog out really quick, and then when I come back, we'll do some more work on the tutorial states. Okay, BRB. All right, I'm back. So one thing that I want to do is change the inventory tooltip to show on first non-combat encounter. So let's do that. I think it doesn't make sense to show that in the inventory. So combat inventory is in combat preparation. So run manager. Is in event. That's probably what I want. So let's change this. Is in event. And we're going to move it up. We'll also rename it. So this would be introduction movement inventory. And we'll rename this. Wait, we already have inventory? What does this one do? Oh, am I on the wrong? Oh, okay, I did the wrong thing. Oops, my mistake. We need to be in the inventory. Yeah, this one, we'll just move this up here. And then this would be is in event. So the first time we enter an event, it will do the inventory call out. So the way that this state machine works for the tutorial is I have a list of ordered states, right? So this is a list of tutorial state. Each tutorial state has an ID. The reason it has an ID is so that I can save the completed states to the save file. And then all I need to do is just check if that ID is in the hash set that gets saved, right? The enter action, which is basically just a reference to whatever state function. And the state functions are responsible for setting up the text and the positioning, right? So like enter state movement does a bunch of stuff. Enter state combat movement, it sets up the text here. And then it also sets up the highlights. And then the entry condition is basically, it takes a context object, and the context object is just basically all of this. So I just have a bunch of data that I can use about the current game state. And so what it does when I need to evaluate if I want to enter a new state, I have all these events that I'm listening to, and these all call basically on reevaluate. And what happens in here is this basically just says, okay, if we're not currently in a tutorial state, find the next valid state. And what it does is it just iterates over that list of ordered states, and then it checks the entry condition, that function that I showed you, checks the entry condition, and if it basically returns the first one where it's not completed and the entry condition passes. And the reason why it's ordered, the list is ordered, is because I can prioritize which states appear before other states. So theoretically, you could have two states in here that both meet the entry condition. Well, it just does the first one that meets it, right? So I can control the order of when things happen. But the benefit of this is that it's also flexible in the sense that like it's going to find the next valid one. So like the states are not necessarily dependent upon each other. It's the first time the player enters a scenario where we could show a specific tooltip pop-up, that's just defined basically by the entry condition. So yeah, so it's like this is flexible and predictable at the same time, which is great. But we want to see if this works now. How does translating games work? Well, it depends on what engine you're using. With Godot, like basically the way it works is you have like a string ID. That ID remains constant. And what the translation server will do is it will take that ID and it will look up the string that matches the locale that you have set. So you have an ID that's like main menu start button. That could be your ID, right? And then in the English version, it will say start. And then in the German version, it will say whatever the word for start is in German, right? But the thing is, like, it's always using the same ID, and what you do is you just swap out whatever text is rendered to the screen based on that ID, right? That's it. It's pretty simple. It's basically just a bunch of key value pairs. Okay. You're not supposed to be over the text. So I guess I have to tweak the movement a little bit. I don't know why he's getting stuck. Why is he getting stuck? We'll turn the screen edge margin down a little bit. Hopefully that helps. Why does it depend on the publisher for you? Because they're the ones doing the translations. They're the ones that are hiring translators to translate it. This is your inventory. You can store items here for later use. Cool. All right. Shapeshifter. Okay, I want to change this. Change that to stash. Dude doesn't want the player to read. Huh? Welcome, Hamlet Game Dev, by the way. Oh, the skull. Yeah, the skull guy doesn't want the player to read. Right. Yes, I need to fix that. It should work for the most part. Like, the way it's supposed to work is that he's got like steering behaviors to move him around, and there's supposed to be like a repelling force around like the bounding box of this text here. But apparently that's not working that well. Okay, so the next thing that I need to try is and sometimes he gets stuck in the corner here. Oh, there he goes. And he's going back down. Okay. I gotta fix that. I may add some to the shader as well. There he goes. Be free. Gotta add particles here too. I have an idea for how I'm gonna do that actually. Do I have an idea for how I'm gonna do that? I feel like I'm just running through the same. Maybe I don't have to use a viewport. Do I have to use a viewport? I don't know. Maybe I don't have to use a viewport actually, now that I think about it. Anyway, I'll think about that later. Add particles. Lantern. Explorer using no viewport for lantern. Run physics simulation in node. Ancestor. Match the transforms. Not with remote transform 2D. but manually. I'm going to try that, because if I can get rid of the viewport, that would be good. Okay, so that's done. Well, now we need to die, because there's another tutorial state that's not quite good. So we want to do generate test map training dummy. Let's go to the training dummy here, and we'll just do ability builder dot damage 100. Okay. Wanders a bit though, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. Skull is drunk. Ollie's artwork looks great, by the way. Congrats on that. Thank you, Hamlet. I appreciate that. I spent a lot of time and effort on it. I'm still not done. There's a lot of art stuff that I want to do for the final release, but we'll see. You have been defeated. Fear not. You may resurrect by spending a resurrection stone, or you can end the run if you have no resurrection stones remaining. Okay, so this needs to obviously highlight there. So let's take a look at that. Enter state resurrection. Get first node in group. Resurrection receptacle group name. Tutorial highlight set text. So this is where I want to do the add draw target. Clickable control. So wait, resurrection control. Resurrection. Container. Okay. Receptacle, clickable control. Okay. I think I know how to do this. Origin plus resurrection control dot size divided by 2. We're just going to set the radius to something like 64. That should be okay. We're going to do default left padding. All right, let's try it again. And then we got to check the boss state. And then maybe we'll add 1 or 2 other states. So let's go ahead and die. That is probably too close. Gotta click through all this shiitake. Okay. That looks fine. And now we got to do the boss state. So for the boss state, we're going to do... Actually, let me just try to make this right at first. So center position half size is equal to enemy board. Okay. Tutorial highlights set text. Center position plus vector 2 dot left times half size plus default left padding times... No, that should actually be fine. Prepare for a difficult battle. And then we want to add the highlight, right? So we want to do this essentially. So add the highlight, center position, game constant tile size.x times 2. Okay, and then in here, we're going to do generate test map. We'll do a map region height of 100. That will shrink the map down so I can get to the boss very quickly, and then we can test this. And then maybe add 1 or 2 other states. Is there anything else in the game that absolutely needs to be explained? Oops, I didn't want to die there. That's all right. Oh. Defeating Inquisition forces will reward you with new items and blood. Oh, that's the... Yeah, right. Okay. That's not even close to correct. Vector 2.left times half size plus default left padding. Oh, default left padding, and then I want to do shift left. Oh, that's probably what I want to do for the resurrection actually too. Instead of doing this, I want to do shift left to true. Okay. Let's give it another whirl. First time watching the stream, this game looks sick. I see you're going with C# instead of GDScript. Curious of thoughts on that too. Welcome, M2VC. Glad to have you here. Yeah, I mean, C#, I just like C#. It's personal preference mostly. One of the reasons why I like C# is because I feel like I get a lot of structure with the systems that I'm making. And I tend to make games that, I wouldn't say like the systems are super complex or sophisticated, but they're complex enough where they're complex enough where I want to have better structure, better IDE support. I want to have confidence, like when I refactor something, that the game is going to compile, right? Having interfaces, abstract classes, I'm making use of all those things very heavily. I'm making use of Link very heavily. So yeah, it just has all these tools that I like. Plus, I've built up my own library of extension methods and other tools for C#. So yeah, it's just one of those things where I like GDScript. I think GDScript is really fun to write, and I think it's really fun to read. I think it's a nice little language. It just lacks certain things that would make it harder for me to make systems like the systems that I've made in Alchemortis. Why you can end the run and something like otherwise. Yeah, we could do it. You can end the run sounds kind of weird. Maybe it does. What are you using for task tracking? It's Obsidian with the Kanban plugin. Second statement seems slightly redundant, having a resurrection so it is implied in the first statement. Right. Why does that still feel like it's so far over? I guess it's fine. It's probably fine. Anyway. So all the tutorial states are looking all right now. The other thing I want to do is test. I want to test the tutorials freed on completion. So finalize boss and resurrection states. Good, okay. We're gonna remove those changes. Okay. We might as well change that text, so. And. The other thing I want to do, everything's getting more complicated the more I look at this. Support keyword highlighting in tutorial text. Oh, fudge. Okay, well, let's do something fun now. I feel like my VS Code is chugging a little bit. I'm going to restart. Okay, feels better now. You're welcome, M2VC. Meant to say... Forgot not meant to say something... Well, I don't know. I'll figure it out later. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. You have no choice but to end the run if you have no resurrection stones. And the reason why I don't just automatically end the run if you don't have resurrection stones is because there are certain artifacts in the game, there may be more artifacts in the game, that may allow you to generate a resurrection stone with your inventory, right? I can't remember who I was watching. Maybe it was me. Maybe I was playing the game. But I had the Lich Soul Lantern artifact, and I was like 15 blood away from gaining a resurrection stone. So I sold a bunch of my inventory, got the resurrection stone, and then resurrected, right? Or end the run if you have none. Okay. That'll work. That'll work. Anyway. It's not worth spending too much time on that because I have to translate all that text and I'm going to rework the keyword highlighting, and I'll take that time to refine what the text actually says. But let's do something fun. We're going to try to add particle effects now. Oh, here we go again. Why is it opening? I don't know why that's happening. I don't want you to open the script. What is going on that it's opening? Why is it opening VS Code when I click on the skull? I don't understand that. What is going on? That is like, there's nothing more annoying than being taken, you're having your focus taken away when you're just trying to navigate to something. Now it's not doing it. That's definitely a bug. I hope they fix that soon. That is quite annoying. All right, give me 1 second here. Okay, doing both artwork and programming yourself, how do you juggle your day tasks? Well, that's where the Kanban board helps. I can kind of like prioritize things that need to be done. But beyond that, if I've got some flexibility in what I need to work on next, I will just decide to do whatever I feel like doing at the moment. So if I know that I need more content, I may, if I'm in a programming mood, I may focus on writing the abilities first and solving any technical problems that come up as a result of that. Or if I feel like doing art, I'll just draw the art for them first, right? Sometimes, I'll get a moment of inspiration regarding some visual thing and I'll go and spend a while drawing that, like the mushroom in the alchemy drawer. was one such moment. It was just, you know, I was just like, hey, I want to increase the visual flair of this alchemy drawer, because previously it was just the pot and the ground. There was no like foliage or mushrooms here. And I was like, oh, I want to draw a mushroom. So I went and drew a mushroom and put it in there. It's kind of like, you know, whatever I happen to feel like working on is kind of what I do. But I generally try to stay within the bounds of like what work is prioritized. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is a weird Godot bug. It is weird indeed. So I want to try something. I don't know if I need this viewport anymore. What I want to try is we're going to change this lantern. Actually, let's just move this out here. How do I want to do this? We want this lantern to be here. Okay. And then we're going to do add child node. We're going to put a node here to break the transform, so it doesn't inherit the transforms. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this guide lantern sprite here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this stuff because it's all in Git. So if I need to undo these changes, I will do that. Lantern sprite. Do I need that still? Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Okay. So we've got our guide lantern sprite. This needs to go in here. I'm just going to get rid of the lantern transform. Right, okay. So this would be lantern root position. We're going to change this to a marker 2D. I'm going to put the lantern sprite under that. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so in process, or I guess in physics process here, lantern sprite dot global rotation is equal to lantern body dot global rotation, and lantern sprite dot position is equal to lantern body dot position. I'm sure I broke something. Oops. I have no idea if this is going to work, but let's see. I got a bunch of errors. Tutorial highlight is text visible, of course. All right, let's try that. When do you make architecture decisions like, should I use a state machine or a state chart? Okay, that's not working at all. Just write if else with components. Usually what I do is I start with the simple approach first, and then as the complexity increases, two things happens. One, the simple, straightforward solution is no longer like maintainable because it's like a mess and it's not readable and it's hard to follow and it has all these conditions to satisfy. But the other thing about doing the simple approach first and then waiting until it gets complex enough is that has a tendency to reveal what the requirements are of a system that you would want to create, like an architecture you'd want to set up. So I usually just try to do things the easy and straightforward way first, and then as my requirements grow and as the initial system needs to support more and more things, now I've got a whole essentially a case study of here's everything that this is doing that needs to be supported by whatever system I'm going to create. And that often helps, it just helps define the system better. So you get a better idea of what your system actually needs to do as you add more stuff to the system, and then you can create the optimal architecture for it from those requirements, right? So that's what I do. Now, this is also a matter of experience, right? I just know from all my programming experience, I know when it's appropriate to design the system a certain way from the start because I pretty much know the exact requirements that I'm going to have, or at least I have a very good idea of the requirements, right? But that's an experience thing. It's still true in principle that you need to know what the system is going to do before you can actually make the architecture to support that system. And if you don't have the experience to know what it's going to do ahead of time, then the best thing to do is to just do it the easy way first, keep piling on functionality onto the easy thing, and then once it gets to a point where it's hard to maintain or it's not flexible enough or whatever, that's when you can move on to designing a better system for it. Do you know if Godot can interact with desktop? For example, I want to make a meta game and the final battle takes place on the actual desktop. You fight with the cursor. I don't think it's possible, but maybe it is. I don't know. I don't have any experience making a game like that, so I'm not sure. Making it on a fake desktop would kind of ruin a little bit of the vibe, but if it's not possible, I got to go with that. I mean, yeah, that might just have to be a case where you fake it. I don't know if you necessarily need to create a fake desktop. You might be able to use a transparent window and then just put collision shapes over top of all the things that you want to, if, let's say the taskbar is something that's a platform that whatever enemy you're fighting can rest on, you might just try to make a best guess effort to put a collision box where the taskbar would be. But I don't know. I'm just guessing. Yeah, I'm just guessing, so I don't know. Lantern physics offset root position. Lantern transform. Oh, this is called lantern root position now. Okay. You need to use C++ to write your own GD extension on top of the Windows API. That will work too. Yeah, it sounds like that will work. Is there a reason why this isn't working? Oh, it's not. I haven't typed it correctly. Marker 2D. Okay. I really wonder if this is going to work. If this works, I may remove the viewport from the paladin character as well. Nope, still lantern sprite. We'll just call this lantern sprite. I don't know what this guide lantern sprite is, but we're going to get rid of that. So the global rotation, is it just as simple as taking global rotation times visuals dot scale dot x? No. Can I just do lantern body dot rotation? Rotation. Maybe global rotation is not what I want. Oh, is it working? And I don't need to flip the sprite H anymore. So wait, why did I not think to do this before? I think I did something like this, but... Okay, I want to see something. Get rid of the tick impulse timer. Well, let me stage what I have first. Then get rid of the tick impulse timer. Then this animation player, I'm going to go absolutely wild on this. Oops, I changed the wrong thing. That's what happens when you just start changing things. Okay, what I really want to see is that the animation is still affecting the swinging of the... it appears to be working. Okay. That appears to be good. So you can see how the physics is still working. Why did I not do that for the paladin character? That is the question. Okay, well, I don't need the viewport anymore, so that's good. Okay, reset. We're going to close this so I can undo these changes. Actually, let me just make sure, double check. Yeah, discard that, discard that. Okay, we can reopen the skull. That's an underrated reason to use Git, is you could just stage your changes, break a bunch of stuff, and then revert it. Okay, no more viewport. So the reason why I wanted to get rid of the viewport is because now it should be a lot easier to add particles into this thing. Because I kind of want the particles to sit in the middle, but I still want there to be a background, so it's not like you can't see through it, right? And actually, that's kind of a good point. Let's go in here. I wonder if I want to... Actually, it's probably okay. I'm trying to think of how I want to cut this up. Well, firstly, let's do this. Remove viewport from skull. So that's good. We got the viewport out of there. I'm going to do the same thing. Remove viewport from Deathsworn Paladin. Follow same approach as skull. Look at this to-do list. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Kinito Pet does work with the desktop and was made with Godot. All right, so let's see what we could do here. I think what I want So this would be guide lantern, foreground. So what I want to do in here is basically remove this. Okay, and then the guide lantern background. I think what I want to do is remove basically this. I mean, that might be a little bit overkill, but basically the flame's going to sit in here. Yeah, this may not be totally necessary, but we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. We might as well just bring both of those things down. Oops. So the flame is going to sit in here. This piece here will be on top of it. And then this piece in the back. Actually, do I want that? I can't remember now. Did I have black pixels there? I think I did, right? Oh, I did it wrong. So it's a relatively minor thing, but I can put the particles in here very nicely and then not worry about it. Okay, so let's go ahead and export that. Okay, exported 2 layers. So, lantern sprite. Let's just change this. Well, let's do this. Node 2D here. Lantern. We put the lantern sprite underneath that. Okay. We have the background and the foreground. We put those in there. It doesn't really matter what these offsets are. Put that there. This one, offset off. Okay, and then we can get rid of the lantern sprite here. Turn this to unique name, and then we do material use parent material. Okay, and then anywhere where we used, I'm going to turn this visibility off, actually. I don't think that needs to be on. The lantern sprite. This needs to turn into just lantern. And then this is a node 2D. Okay. Let's see what happens. I clicked the wrong button. So what I should see is basically no change. And now I can add the particles in where I need them to be. Yeah, so basically no change, which is good. That's what I expected. But now in here, what I can do is I can insert a particle system just right in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit so I don't have to spend so much effort. I'm going to grab these particles here. Actually, I wonder how that looks just like that. I don't want this to be in local chords. Okay. I'm just going to make sure that all of these are unique before I do anything. Okay. Process material, display, color ramp, orange, and then we'll do red up here. Okay. Let's take a look at the scale as well. Let's just turn this up to 1. Scale. Oh, maybe I don't. Let me look at this one first. Let's do 1, 1. Flame 2. Not animation. I want animated velocity. Accelerations, gravity. Linear accel. Okay. I have no idea how that's going to look. Let's see. I feel like these can be bigger. That looks cool. You like it? Yeah. Why am I just barely following on here? I do not know. No, it's not possible to change the particle system. The only thing I can do is change it to a local particle system. I could potentially restart the particle system, maybe. Actually, maybe I could try that. Let's try that. So we've got flame. I may just make this. I might cheat a little bit. Node 2D. Okay. Flame particles. For each var child in flame particles dot get children of type GPU particles 2D child dot restart. I wonder if that will work. And then what I can do is I can turn on pre-process. So let's see, pre-process. Let's just put 0.5 second pre-process on that. So hopefully that will clean it up. Oh yeah, that did work. Look at that. I want to make that flipping a little bit smoother too. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet though. I think the white particles last a little bit too long. So we're going to turn this down. Lifetime randomness 0.5, that works. Let's turn this lifetime. Well, let's keep that one up, I suppose. Well, maybe not. 0.5 and then this one 0.75. Let's see how that looks. I'm not really that happy with that being there. Maybe if I move it up a little bit and then I can move this down. This one can go up a little bit and this one can go up more. Let's see what that does. Now that creates too much of a difference. I think I'm pretty much not going to be able to do that. What I could do potentially I'm going to change these accelerations. Gravity. -50 on the gravity, let's see. That looks okay. The spawn position is a box. Why is that the case? Let's change this to a sphere. See if that makes a difference. Yeah, I think that's better. I'm going to turn the scale down on this one. Like then the skull flips, the flames still stay in the air. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I think it looks a lot better now. This one, I need to turn up the amount. And I might need to change the scale again. I keep going back and forth on it, but that's okay. Well, it's all right. Let's turn up this amount, and we're going to turn up this amount as well. I may turn down the lifetime randomness. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Lifetime randomness, 0.25. Well, let's see what it looks like in game, I suppose. I think the benefit now is I can actually change the light source position to be here. And we'll see how that looks. Stay on the screen, buddy. Oh, the particles need to stop now when I fade out. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but we'll fix that. Yeah, we can fix that. Okay. We actually don't need this whole guide lantern anymore, so we can remove that. What was I doing? I literally blanked on what I was about to do. Oh, fade the particles out. He wants to go to the desktop, yeah. I want to fade, I want to stop the particles, so let's just do, we'll just create a private method in here. Var child in flame particles dot get children dot of type GPU particles 2D child dot emitting is equal to false, or yeah, here. Okay, so on ready, we want to stop particles. Play in. Interesting. What do I want to do in here? Okay. Play out. Between action, stop particles. All right, let's see what that does. Hopefully that works. Cool. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I don't really have any complaints about that. Oops, I died. So yeah, we've got our lantern particles now. I think it looks fine. And the flames are going in between the handles. It's a minor detail, but it definitely helps a little bit. I'm not really satisfied with the flame particles generally in this project, but I would like to do like a flame shader or like more solid flame particles, but the problem is like getting all the motion following and stuff to work well. But that's fine. It's fine for now. Okay. That's a very cool looking whoa. Thank you. Appreciate that. Welcome back, Real Cruda. Good to see you. Okay, defeating Inquisition forces. I'm going to make this minor tweak too. Stop start particles during fade play in out. Tutorial guide. Defeating Inquisition combat movement. Oh, no. Combat rewards. Let's just change that back down to 1. Managed to get the actually broker market tab looking very nice now. Awesome. Very cool. Oops. Okay. All right. Well, we got a lot done. Let me see what I can do here. Add particles for lantern. Test that tutorials for reading completion support keyword highlighting. Okay, so we're very, very close to being done with this, but I'm going to take a break for now, get some dinner. But I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, so if you want to join, I would appreciate that. You can watch on Twitch or on YouTube. The link for the game's Steam page is in the description below, so check it out if you're interested. I would appreciate a wish list. The game is coming out later this year, so we're down to like a couple of months here, basically, to wrap everything up. And yeah, hopefully you all like it, but I'm going to be working very hard these next couple months to get everything in shape for you all. Make sure there's plenty of content and that the game is fun, all that good stuff. So yeah, thanks again, everyone, for your support. I appreciate it, and hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye.